Hi Tim. In this demo, I'll show you the entire lifecycle of ComfyUI, from development to deployment in Openshfit AI. We install the custom resources for the notebook and the serving runtime. And just like we do with a regular notebook, we launch our ComfyUI instance by connecting the permanent storage in this case. The default 20 gigabytes is fine for me, and the connection to the S3 storage that I configured earlier. At this point, we start our notebook and enter the interface. We create the default user, import the workflow that I prepared earlier, and proceed to install two custom nodes. One is essentially needed to locally download models from Hugging Face, while the other is a crucial node for HyperSDXL that I use to generate an image with minimal computing resources, in this particular case using the CPU. Now, from the Hugging Face download node, I set the repo ID and the model file name I want to download, and this will be saved locally on the persistent volume. At this point, I run the workflow and verify that everything works. Now, I can easily remove the Hugging Face download node and then save my workflow in the Export API format. I will now go to the custom endpoint of the S3 uploader that I previously created, because I want to upload all the relevant files related to this specific project to my S3 connection, so in this particular case, the custom nodes and the model. I wait for the upload, and at this point, I'm ready to deploy the model. I then choose the ComfyUI serving runtime and proceed to configure it like any other serving runtime, specifying in this particular case the S3 path where I had already uploaded the necessary data in the previous step. I now have access to all the ComfyUI endpoints, and in addition, I have created an extra endpoint called Easy Infer. At this point, I prepare my request using the command line tool curl, in which I include the entire workflow that was saved earlier in the Export API step within the post data. I can modify it, for example, by changing the positive or negative prompt or adjusting the weights, and at this point I perform my inference. We can see that I have created an image, and now I can view it normally in the browser. I believe this is a very effective tool for content generation, fast, powerful, and capable of greatly accelerating the development of AI-based generative content.